Hey everyone, welcome to Odyssey Trading, and in today's episode I'm going to give you a quick overview of what my trading layout looks like. Now, I am using StreetSmart Edge and I am with Schwab, but I know a lot of you guys are probably not using this or probably are starting to sort of understand exactly what platform you want to use. But if you are going with StreetSmart Edge, or should I say, if you are going to choose Charles Schwab, then StreetSmart Edge is the platform that they are offering, and it's pretty good. So typically, the way I usually use StreetSmart Edge is on a day trading basis. I am a day trader, so I typically deal with stocks, and I want to show you guys exactly how my layout looks like. And I'm trying to keep this as simple and as easy to use. So on the left hand side of my screen, I have one stock, and in this stock I'll call it Tesla, for example. And then on the right hand side, the 50% of my other screen, I'm choosing Apple. And on the left hand side, you can see that I have three charts. I have a 1 minute chart at the top, 5 minute chart in the middle, and then a daily chart at the bottom. So typically I use these three charts on a daily basis because I need to know exactly what's going on with the stock in real time. And using the 1 minute chart is very powerful because I need to know and I need to get a good impression of how that stock is behaving in a very fast way. So on a minute by minute basis. I also use the 5 minute chart in tandem with the 1 minute chart to make sure that I can gauge the stock and confirm that whether I need to enter that trade or not. And then the daily chart really gives me a overview and perspective of what that stock looks like, over a few months or over a year or several years, because I want to know if that stock is trending upward or is it trending, is it bullish or bearish. These are factors that I take into consideration when I try to enter a stock. And then, as I said before, on the right hand side, I have exactly the same thing. I have an Apple stock, and I try to keep it as easy as possible to use. Now, I typically don't trade more than two stocks at any given time because it becomes stressful and it just becomes a bad situation at the end of the day. So two stocks for me. I like to keep it simple, and I like to enter trades and exit trades as fast as possible as well. Now, I want to point your attention to the active trader that I have here. This is situated to the right hand side of my charts, as you can see here. And the reason I have this is because I need to execute my trades like everyone else. I typically keep it simple as well. I have my default quantity, my venue. In this case, I choose the smart venue, which is part of Charles Schwab's routing mechanism. And then I typically use a market order as well once in a while, and I typically go into sometimes limits and stops, if you will. And there are also brackets as well. If I want to enhance my trade, then I can use this as well. And then at the bottom, I have my market depth data, or in other words, you can call it level 2. And this level 2 data typically gives me a quick idea of exactly what's going on in real time. It's more like the books of all the trades getting queued up. And then on the right hand side, I have the time and sales. Now, today is a Sunday, and so you can obviously assume that there's not going to be any activity for both of these stocks. But you can imagine that on any given day of trading, because it is Tesla, there's going to be a lot of traffic. Obviously, being very, very busy, you'll see thousands and thousands of orders fly through here. And I use this regularly because I am a day trader, number one, and number two, I like to scalp and I like to trade on momentum and reversals as well. So level 2 is completely invaluable to me, and that's why I use it. And so the last thing that I want to sort of point to you is in the bottom right hand corner, I also have my account details as well. And this is also very important for anyone who wants to monitor their P&L. typically because I am in a position for such a short amount of time, I want to make sure that I'm not going too deep into the red, and I want to make sure that my risk management is solid. So being able to see what my P&L is in real time gives me the ability to decide whether I should continue that trade or whether I should exit that trade. And then at the top of this screen, I also have a quick snapshot of just the key market indicators that I typically use for most of my trades. I usually do trade on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, but typically there are, these indicators come standard with StreetSmart Edge: the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ Composite, and the S&P 500. Right, and on the right-hand side, I have my time, so I can know when I'm working pre-market, and I know when the markets are open and when they're about to close as well. Okay, so that's really it for my go-to trading active screen, where I usually execute most of my trades. This is going to be my main display, but obviously I do have multiple monitors at any given time. So what I've done just for this example in this tutorial is that I've consolidated those three monitors into three separate tabs. So I have my active tab, which, as I mentioned before, is my screen, my main monitor. I have my screeners and my watch list. In this case, it's WL. And then I have my market overall position. Okay, so just to quickly go into screeners and watch lists, I do use this for my research. I typically wake up 45 minutes to an hour before the market opens. Because I am on the West Coast, it is pretty early for me, but I do manage to get up. I try to do my checklist of items that I need to do, look at my screeners, if you will, at the bottom here, look at my pre-market gappers, and then figure out what I need to do that research. I usually, if I am interested in a particular stock, I usually will go to the watch list here and I will simply add it here. Let's say, for example, KCAC, for example, is one that I recently traded, and I'll add that there so I can monitor it in real time. And then finally, I usually go to the middle of the screen here for my up-to-dates, live updates in real time from CNBC. And the great thing about CNBC is it is a free subscription, so you do get it with StreetSmart Edge, which is a great benefit to have. So this is sort of my squawk, if you will, my squawk box that gives me audible updates in real time as they come through. And if you're trading in Europe or in Asia, you can also switch between different continents as well, which is pretty amazing. So that's a really cool feature that I like to use on a daily basis. And then finally, I have at the bottom here my information on all the breaking news that comes into play. Really just everything that I use for all my research, any breaking news that comes through, any news on Tesla, for example, and I can switch this to different different stock tickers if I need to. Again, it is a Sunday, so you'll probably won't see any information here, but with breaking news, this doesn't have to be stock related. It can be anything to do with international markets, can be done anything to do with just situations happening in the world right now. And then finally, I use Briefing as well. Briefing.com is a great third-party source that I use as well, on and off StreetSmart Edge, that gives me an idea of all the things that are coming into play as I trade my stocks. And then finally, on the bottom right hand corner, this is my my research window. If I feel like I want to do a bit more background research on companies that I'm not familiar with but I want to trade, maybe it's a penny stock, maybe it's a small cap pharmaceutical company that I'm unaware of, I probably will go in here and it's just to punch in the stocker symbol quickly, get a feel for what the company does, what they do, looking at their total float, the number of shares outstanding, the market cap, which is very important to me. But if you're doing fundamental analysis as well, this is also very powerful for you guys. You can see anything from earnings, ratings, metrics. I don't typically use all of this information because I am a day trader. So I usually work off technical indicators and price action. But for some of you out there, you probably want to, you're just interested and you just want to identify what those information is. So, that's available to you. So, as I said before, I like to keep things simple. I want to have a very clear layout, a very clean layout as well to figure out what I want to trade, and I have my watch list. And as I said before, this tab will typically be represented as a monitor, so I'll have a separate screen up on my daily setup, and then I can see tilt my eyes from one screen monitor to the next and actively trade as well as watch the active tickers that I'm watching right now. And then finally, I have something called Market Overall, and Market Overall really gives me an idea of exactly what the overall market is doing. As I mentioned before, I do trade mostly on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So, for me, looking at how the overall market is behaving is very important. If it is trending upwards, I definitely want to, understand exactly what's going on. A lot of the companies that I do trade have a high correlation with the S&P 500. So, just from a bird's eye perspective, having a look at the 1 minute chart at the top, the 5 minute chart at the bottom, giving me a good perspective of what I need to do. And then similarly on the right hand side, I use TQQQ, which is a representation of the NASDAQ, and I also do that in the same manner as the S&P 500 as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have gotten some value out of this video. If you have any other questions, please leave your comments below. I will be more than happy on answering them. Also, please give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe. I'm starting to build this channel as much as I can. I want to make sure that everyone has this information for free, and I want to make sure that people who are getting into day trading and who want to become financially independent and free can use this information for their benefit. So thank you so much. Up until next time, hope you guys have a good one. Bye for now.